Even as I was editing this video, more information came out about Chris Steele, and it's looking like he may not be going to Oregon. Will Chris Steele go to Oregon? Or will he go to USC? Or will he even play football? Or will he transfer again? Find out on the next episode of NMD TV. Let's get it.
With the squad, mess with one of us. You ain't messing with my vision. Messing with the money. You ain't messing.
What's up, guys? Welcome to NMD TV. No more defeats TV. What all we do is win. Never take any losses. And shout out to all my bosses, guys. If you love college football, this is the channel for you, because I talk about college football 24/7. And today we're talking about Chris Steele. I thought Chris Steele in this saga was over, but no, this is going longer than the Dragon Ball Z saga. I mean, we got more news about this kid. Now, if you've been sleeping under a rock, you haven't been paying attention, or you're not subscribed to this channel, Chris Steele has verbally committed to Oregon. He was recruited by several different schools, decided to go to Florida. But before he decided to go to Florida, he was committed to USC, and he decommitted and decided to go to Florida. Well, he goes to Florida, goes through spring practice, and he has some issues with his roommates. He tells Florida, hey, I want to transfer, basically because they wouldn't move rooms. That was the story that they put out. The roommate that he had got in trouble for sexual misconduct. Chris Steele said he wanted to move because of that, or transfer because of that. And a lot of people didn't believe it. You know, I did the video on it, and a lot of Florida people said, hey, Chris Steele is making this up. He was cool with his roommate. They actually had a lot of tweets going back and forth. They actually had a lot of pictures going back and forth. The relationship was fine, but you know, a lot of people didn't believe him. And I believe Chris Steele actually became a victim, because I know I was under the impression that, hey, if Chris Steele wanted to transfer rooms, move rooms, then you let him out of that room. But instead, his family got into it, and he decides to transfer. And a couple days later, he puts out a tweet that says he's going to be an Oregon Duck, that he is committed to the program. So I say, hey, good for him. He goes to Oregon. You know, I wish him the best of luck. You know, and people said, hey, he went to Oregon because he has a great relationship with the defensive back coach. And I said, okay, whatever. Well, now there's been breaking news, and there's been an update on Mr. Chris Steele, because there's a report that's been put out by the TrojanInsider.com. And in this report, it says that Bru McCoy and Chris Steele visited USC on Monday. You got to remember that Bru McCoy has went to USC, went into the transfer portal, went to Texas, and now he's transferring back to USC. Similar to Chris Steele, who joined Florida, entered the transfer portal, and at this point has verbally committed to Oregon. But the key word is verbally, because you're looking at this report and it says, on Monday, Steele and McCoy were both on the USC campus visiting, meeting with coaches and talking with players that they know well. This wasn't a surprise to us, but Chris Steele confirmed the visit with us tonight. There's no word on when a final decision will be made, but we know USC would be able to have him on campus and enrolled for the summer sessions by this weekend. Listen to that. Chris Steele has confirmed that he visited USC. Wow, guys. Wow. If I'm a Florida Gators fan, I'm saying, see, I told y'all about Chris Steele. If I'm an Oregon Duck fan, I'm mad, because let's say he does it, this is nothing. But I always say, where there's smoke, there's fire. But let's say this ends up being nothing. Why are you visiting USC? It makes no sense if you're committed to Oregon. I think this kid thinks he's still in the recruiting process. But he hasn't signed a letter of intent to Oregon. So now there is a chance, since he only verbally committed, that he could be playing ball at USC. Now, if you're a USC fan, hey, you just picked up 2 5-star recruits. I wonder if 247 redid their score, what their ranking would be. Now this is if Chris Steele decides to go to USC. Like I said, if he decides, I have to say that. No decision has been made. But I always start these videos and I talk about the transfer portal. I blame the transfer portal. If this kid decides to go to USC, you got to look at the person. Because I understand these are young kids, and I always give them slack. I always tell people that these are young kids. It's hard for them to make up their mind. But it comes to a point that when you start to give out your word and not sticking by it, people will stop looking at how good of a prospect you are and start looking at your character. Now, if he goes and balls out, maybe people forget all about this. But it's going to be hard if he screws over 2 fan bases for people to forget about this. Now, what do you guys think? I don't know. Is this an overreaction? Is this report done by Scott Schrader and the Trojan Insider? Is this just a little smoke, nothing too much? Or does Chris Steele need to make up his mind? If I'm an Oregon Duck fan, I'm not happy about this. But that's the breaking news. Chris Steele could be joining Bru McCoy at USC and burn Oregon, guys. What do you think? Let me know. I'm out. Much love. And as always, watch the video on the screen. No more defeats.